Hello guys, welcome back to Code. In the previous videos, we learned about the basic types, arrays, and objects in the Typescript. If you haven't watched those videos yet, I would recommend watch them by clicking on the I button above. Now in this video, let's discuss about type inference, union types, and type alias. Let me start with type inference first. In all these examples I have defined here, I always declare these variables with a type assigned to it, and then I set a value to it. Right? Let me show you what is type inference now. Consider another variable here, like course. Let course equal to Typescript and Angular tutorial. So I consider a variable called course. Inside this course, I'm storing a string, TypeScript and Angular tutorial like that. Now after creating this variable like this, I want to store a number in this course variable, like the course ID, right? Let the course ID be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if you see here, I'm getting an error because the type number is not assignable to type string, right? But why am I getting this error? Even though I didn't define any type in the course here, right? Well, here the TypeScript used its powerful feature of type inference. By default, TypeScript tries to infer as many as types as possible. So it will try to know which types are used where, without explicitly stating those types. Like you have written the string here, like you have assigned a string here to the course variable. So without mentioning it is a string variable, like string type, the TypeScript automatically infers this course variable as string type variable. So which means you need to write less code. I could also set my type here like string. That would not be wrong, but it's redundant, right? Because if you immediately initialize this variable with a string, the TypeScript will automatically enforce this as string type variable. And if you set a number, then TypeScript will automatically enforce as a number type variable, like that. So it is not mandatory to define the types here if you are initializing the variable in the same line, right? It will be redundant code. And it is considered a good practice and a good idea to embrace the type inference feature of this TypeScript. Unnecessarily you are specifying the types here. You can use this type inference feature. Let me give another example for the type inference here again. Let number of courses equal to 10, like that. If I want to initialize this number of courses with any string 10, it is showing error because this number of courses variable is already assigned to type number by using type inference. But if you try to assign a string afterwards, it will show error because this type number is not assignable to type string, right? So this is what type inference is. Now let's discuss about union types. Until now we only had this scenario where we took only one type for one variable, right? Each variable is having only one type. For username it is string, for age it is number, and is boolean it is boolean, and hobbies it is array of strings. These all variables are defined with only one type. But sometimes you want to allow multiple different types to a single variable also. Yes, that is also possible. Like in this case, if you see, let me comment out this. In this course variable, it is logical to store both a string and also the ID, right? Whenever I want to refer the string, I can store the string, and whenever I want to store the ID, I can store the ID, right? It really depends on what you're building. So it might be the case there should be a variable with having two types to store both strings and ID. So there might be the case where one variable should be storing the string and number also. Like in this case, my course variable should be able to store the string, that is TypeScript and Angular tutorial, and ID of that course 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we want this course variable to be stored more than two types, right? So now in this course variable we want to store more than one type, right? And this feature is called union types. A union type is a type definition that allows you to store more than one type in a single variable. So how can you do that? After this variable, by adding a colon and then your first type, that is string, and also the second type, that is number. This should be separated by a union operator here. These two types should be separated by a pipe symbol like this. So you want to store a boolean also, you can just give like this and boolean, right? So now if you see here, the course variable is storing ID here, but we are not getting error here because we have defined it in the way it can store more than one type. Let me store a boolean type also, course equal to true. Here also I'm not getting any error because I have defined boolean also in this allowed types. You can also do this by union types feature, that is let username equal to code. If I hover on it, it is a string variable because I have assigned it in the same line, right? So by using the type inference, it is being converted to string variable, right? But I can do like this, giving a colon string. Also I want to store a list of usernames in this username variable. So I will be giving a pipe symbol here and then string and then opening and closing brackets. So now what happens is this username can be able to store both string and also the array of strings. That is, I can store a single username here and also list of usernames. Pretty helpful, right? So this is what union types here. This is how we use these union types in TypeScript. Now the next thing we are going to discuss here is type analysis. Now the more TypeScript code you are going to write, the higher the chances that at some point you might be repeating some type definitions. And we are actually already doing this here. See, these people, we have defined name and age, and also for person also we have defined it here, the name and age. We are repeating the same structure here and here again. But this is an array, and this is for storing only single person. This is for storing the list of people. This is for storing the list of persons. But they are using the same definition here, right? So this is duplication, right? So to avoid this duplication, we can use this type aliases feature. You can define your own base types like this, which is more complex type definitions, and then use type aliases instead of this repeating entire type definitions for the variables which are required. So before we use this object type for the first time here, we can define such a type aliases by using the type keyword. That's a keyword which doesn't exist in the JavaScript, in the standard JavaScript, but which is added by TypeScript instead. Now after this type keyword, you use any name of your choice. Like here I'm using type person, like that. And after the equal sign here, I will be having the type definition. Let me copy these things. So I have defined a type here, my own type, with a name of string and age of number type. So you can have the type definitions like this in TypeScript, but when you convert this to JavaScript, this whole thing will be thrown out of the window when the code is compiled. So now instead of this type definition here, I can use this type person like this, and I can replace the whole definition with type person type. I can use the same thing in this people type definition also. I can replace the type definition with type person whenever I encounter this type of structure. So instead of those type definitions, I can use my type alias here instead. So therefore they are all still the same type, but I have defined it only once here. So it can reduce the things I have to repeat for the type definitions. I don't need to repeat it all in all the places where I need this type definition, right? So this saves us a lot of typing work and therefore make our code more concise and easier to maintain. That's it for this video. We have learned type inference, union types, and type aliases in this video. In next video, we will be learning about functions and parameters. Stay tuned and please subscribe so you'll not miss out any videos. Thanks for watching.